Welcome to Takeover, the most underrated sports debate show on YouTube. Make sure you like and subscribe for those daily episodes of sports talk that we give you guys.
Daily, weekly.
Weekly. My bad.
Don't overburden ourselves. We're not first take here.
My bad.
Until you guys start paying us to be here, we're gonna limit the exposure. Goodness, as you already know, my name is Josh.
My name is Deandra.
It's your boy Cam, and this is Takeover.
Yeah, we play it all in night. Yeah, need it all in advance. The opposition know we're ready for it. Like a supper we eating, it won't be the last. Grind out the muscle, pull up. Parker right on the grass. We coming in, take over everything, run it up. Not that holding me back. 3 in the wood. Rush.
So, starting off, we are going to be talking about the conference championship, guys. We had the greatest, probably the greatest divisional weekend in NFL history with 3 walk-off field goals and an overtime thriller. But we now have the final 4 teams, and we're going to be going conference by conference, giving you the picks, and eventually we're going to give you our Super Bowl picks. So, we're going to start with the NFC. Somebody start me off. Who's going? Rams or Niners?
When you look at the Rams, the only time the Rams really find trouble is when they're really killing themselves. They were dominant in the first half of the game against the Buccaneers until they did like silly mistakes like a failed snap from Matthew Stafford, a fumble by Cam Akers. But when they play relatively clean and they don't hurt themselves, we've seen the damage that they can do. When you look at the 49ers, their defense has been playing out of their minds. They were able to hold Green Bay to 10 points, and they sacked Aaron Rodgers 5 times. And the 49ers have beaten them 6 times. And the last time they met, they rushed over 100 yards, and Matthew Stafford threw 2 interceptions. And the Rams were up 17 points, but they did allow the 49ers to get back in the game. But we've seen that the Rams have played a lot better since then, especially in the playoffs. And the Rams' defense is really good when it comes to stopping the run. And if you ask me, I would rather stop the run rather than, well, I think if you stop the run, you have to worry about Deebo Samuel and George Kittle, right? But I would feel more comfortable to have the option to make Jimmy G throw the ball than to let the 49ers get to their bread and butter and let them run the ball all over you. And at some point, you have to wonder if the bare minimum or average quarterback play is going to be enough to win against the Rams or even as they progress through the playoffs. When you have a team with a really good defense and a really good run game that can dictate the time of the possession, you can really get by on average quarterback play. And Jimmy G has been able to make plays when necessary, and he has took them to the Super Bowl. But he also has the tendency to sell also and make silly mistakes in the most crucial moments. And this is the NFC Championship. You can't just rely on special teams to score all your points or get you to the Super Bowl. And with weapons like OBJ, Cooper Kupp, and Cam Akers, and a quarterback in Matthew Stafford who has shown that he can rise to the occasion, and the defense as a whole, eventually you're going to need Jimmy G to step up and make big plays and not just rely on the minimum or just game managing. So I picked the Rams to win that.
It's crazy. Jimmy G won an NFC playoff game by just throwing 8 passes. Maybe you don't have to be this outstanding quarterback to win playoff games. And that's exactly why I'm going with the 49ers in a upset. But we have a new segment on Takeover. It's called Cam Vision. And this is where we break down film just a little bit to see what everyone else is seeing. Okay, let's start it off. These 49ers, they have a base defense of a 4-3. Nothing scary, right? But here we go. Where it gets a little crazy for them. They're in a nickel set right here. Cam, what does a nickel mean? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There are 5 cornerbacks on the field. But that's not where the madness happens. The madness happens in here. You have 5 people blocking. You have 5 people standing up. Matthew Stafford doesn't know what coverage we're in, and he thinks maybe it's man because all these guys are blitzing in. Check right here. Look, pause right here. This guy bails. You have Samson Ibukam bailing out. You have 2 safeties diving in, causing an overload on the left side. And what happens after that? It's an easy sack because they can't pick it up. And you have problems right here. Right here, look, 49ers in the same nickel coverage right here. Matthew Stafford. Oh, is one guy coming out? No, they're playing with his eyes. Everyone comes this time. And guess what happens? Matthew Stafford gets sacked. Quick one right here. Same nickel coverage. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's a safety back here. Everyone lines up. It's versus Green Bay, but they tend to bail out. They bail out right here, thinking it's man, it's zone. They get a little pressure right here, and they force them to make an errant throw. Their ability to disguise blitzes over and over again makes them a huge threat, especially to a guy like Matthew Stafford, who has a tendency to throw a couple of lame duck balls. And you're talking about the Rams' ability to stop the run. They haven't stopped the 49ers run game at all this season. Matter of fact, they've rushed for over 100 yards each time they played them, and they held the Rams to just 53 yards in the first game and 64 in the last game. Everyone wants to talk about Aaron Donald and the rest of those guys. You got Von Miller, but the best way to stop a pass rush is to run the ball. And the 49ers run the ball the best with Deebo Samuel and Elijah Mitchell. And Leonard Fournette, he didn't have a breakout game, but when he needed to get yards, he could. And the Niners have averaged over 120 yards in both of the games they played, the 49ers. And I looked this up. I went deep into the database. The 49ers are 11-1 when rushing over 100 yards. I would take them to do that again on Sunday, and I think they have the upset win and beat the Rams.
Can I borrow those real fast? Appreciate it. I need to use the rose tinted glasses that you're looking at because I see what you're doing with the tape, but I don't see San Francisco winning this game. I think it'll be close.
Okay.
I think it'll be a very competitive matchup. But the fact of the matter is, it's still the NFL. It still comes down to quarterback play. Until we get back to the era where it's 4 yards and a cloud of dust, I am still going to go with the better quarterback. And for that reason, that's why I'm taking the Rams, because Matthew Stafford is still relatively unproven on the playoff.
I have a question.
Always, sure.
But wasn't Aaron Rodgers a better quarterback last week?
No.
But
the way he played,
you wouldn't take Aaron Rodgers over.
Hey, listen.
Go ahead.
The fact that in certain cases it's proven wrong, but when left with nothing else to do, because in the end these are both great D lines. These are both great O lines. These are both good skill position stables. That's the word that I'm looking for. So in the end, I have to come down to where the biggest deficiency is, which is you have a quarterback that will probably be a Hall of Famer when he hangs up the boots, and you've got a guy who has been in trade rumors for a year and a half, was stuck behind Tom Brady's shadow, and as you said, went to the NFC Championship only throwing 8 passes.
And won.
He did win, but I think it's a different year. I think it's a different year this year, and I think Stafford's going to get a Super Bowl appearance for the first time in forever.
But switching on to the next game, the Chiefs and Deandra's boy Joe Shiesty go against each other in a highlight matchup again. Who do you guys have in Chiefs versus Bengals?
I think I picked the Bengals last week. I said that this was a team of destiny. I felt like they were the hot team. Sometimes that's all you need. But the fact of the matter is, the Chiefs are just a little bit hotter. I have no problem with Joe Shiesty. I have no problem with Cincinnati Bengals. I'm so happy that they're here, and I'm glad that Cincinnati finally has some success coming out of sports there. But in the end, did they win against the Titans because Joe Burrow was that good or the Bengals were that good? Or did they win because Ryan Tannehill just played that bad? That dude, the fact that the Bengals were able to win a playoff game, giving up 9 sacks is incredible to me. And now playing a team like the Chiefs who can protect their own quarterback, which the Bengals cannot. I'm picking the Chiefs for that simple fact. I mean, Chris Jones, Melvin Ingram, and Frank Clark is not a bad 3-man rush trio, but it's not the greatest. There's so many different teams that could put up a 2-rush trio that put up more sacks than these 3. They're probably going to have about 6 sacks in this game because the Bengals cannot give Joe Burrow any time. So because of that, everything gets thrown out the window. That's why I'm picking the Chiefs for the simple fact of they have Patrick Mahomes. Don't ever count out Patrick Mahomes. I learned that the hard way this year. Second of all, bad O-line play will screw you over every time. And it hasn't just yet just because Ryan Tannehill sold that. Tell me about your boy Joe Shiesty.
I'll tell you. All right, so when you look at the game that they had last week, the Bengals, like you said, the defense really showed up against the Titans. They were able to limit Derrick Henry and get necessary stops. And like you said, when we look at Joe Shiesty, he got sacked 9 times, but for a quarterback to get sacked 9 times and to be so cool, calm, and collected, we've seen Tom Brady smash tablets because of how pressured he was, and he still had a better game than Ryan Tannehill. But when you look at the Chiefs in their game, that they had Patrick Mahomes having a field day against the Bills and having 13 seconds left on the clock, taking his team to overtime and clinching the win. Obviously, the Chiefs have more experience in these situations, 3 straight years in the conference championship at home with the amazing coaching with Andy Reid and Eric Bieniemy. And And I question whether Cincinnati's defense is going to be able to limit Tyreek Hill, Travis Kelce, let alone Patrick Mahomes. We've talked about all of these weapons that they have. But before, my mind was with Kansas City. It really was. My mind has always told me Kansas City, but the logical answer would be Kansas City. But I'm gonna change my mind and I'm going with the Bengals simply because I cannot bring myself to go against my boy Joe Shiesty. I've been with him since LSU and I'm not neglecting him. And I do believe that this is going to be a game where both offenses are just going to go off because we did see the Buffalo Bills completely torch the Kansas City Chiefs defense. And we know that the Bengals have the offense to get plays off and score. And hopefully the Bengals defense can have as big of an impact as they had with the last game. But like I said, you can call it bias, you can call me stupid, whatever you want, but hey.
You're not stupid, but it's biased.
But it is. I already said, like, I can't go against my boy Joe Burrow. Call it what you want, but I'm sticking with my boy Joe Shiesty.
Sometimes during the show I like to recite poetry from great poets.
Why?
The great poet Marshall Mathers said, "I'm Slim Shady, yes, I'm the real Shady. All you other Slim Shadys are just imitating." Patrick Mahomes is the real Slim Shady. There's been questions, did he fall off? Could he not do it? And he continues to show us game after game while he's the best quarterback. Some of those throws he was making, I don't believe anyone in the world could throw. Look at what he did last week in that awesome game versus Josh Allen. 33 of 44, 447 yards, 4 touchdowns, no interceptions, and with 2 timeouts, got all the way down the field, put them in overtime, and when he won the toss, I knew the game was over. Like, he's that good. And so I really wonder, and he did that versus the Bills defense, who was number 1 in pass defense. The Bengals defense really isn't all that good, and I believe that Ryan Tannehill handed them that game late in opportunities in that. And so I don't believe that they'll be able to have the firepower to hold up with a Tyreek Hill, a Travis Kelce. And you even see guys like McCole Hardman. You say you want to stay faithful to Joe. What about Edwards-Helaire on the other side? He's a good LSU guy, and he's been making a whole lot of noise down there too. So I think I'm rolling with the Chiefs' firepower. And the thing is, everyone talks about the Chiefs' defense, but they got to Josh Allen, and he just broke out of it. Josh Allen was on a different type of level. I don't think Joe Burrow has the luxury of doing what Josh Allen is because he's not Josh Allen. He doesn't have the same frame as him. That's why when those guys from Tennessee got back there, he went down 9 times. So I think Chris Jones and Frank Clark will be able to get to him, and I think Mahomes, Kelce, and Tyreek Hill are going to be able to finish the rest on the back half. I have Kansas City covering the spread as well.
Before we wrap up this segment, I just have to ask one question to everybody else that picked the Bengals. Who's guarding Tyreek? Are you gonna let is Trey Waynes gonna go out there and the 6'9" shout out? Are we gonna Chidobe Awuzie, Mike Hilton? Is Eli Apple gonna guard him? Because please do that. I haven't seen a 300-yard receiving game in the playoffs. I would love to see Eli Apple attempt to check Tyreek. Just wanted to make sure I got that one.
All right, guys, moving on to it's still another NFL matter. Antonio Brown, antics and all. He's gone on a couple podcasts. He's giving his side of the story. The Bucs are now out of the playoffs. He let everyone on social media know that they're out of the playoffs. He's a great talent at wide receiver. Do you think he'll get another opportunity in the NFL?
So I don't think Antonio Brown should be given another chance because he's been given a plethora of chances. And maybe I'm overreacting a little bit, but I can't help but to think about a player like Colin Kaepernick, where he was dang near blackballed and he was standing up for something so meaningful. Meanwhile, you have a player like Antonio Brown, where it started with his behavior with the Steelers, and then you go to the Patriots and you talk trash about the owner. Then you think about him saying racial slurs to a GM, and then he gets another chance to play with the GOAT Tom Brady, and then he wins a championship. Then you fake a vaccination card, and then Tom Brady stands up for you then, and you're able to come back. But then you walk off during the game, and despite all of the stories about the incentive with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, even if that was the case, you don't handle a situation like that. And even if you did not get that incentive in that game, Tom Brady would have made sure you got it the very next game. Then you go on a podcast and you talk about Tom Brady, you act as if you don't care or you're not remorseful for any of the things you did. But even after all that has occurred, even though I don't think he should be given another chance, he probably will down the line. And I could be wrong, but someone told me that if you're talented, it's a whole nother scenario and the rules don't apply to you. So because Antonio Brown is so talented, someone will probably be desperate enough to pick him up in the future.
You stole the gist of my argument. To start it off, I don't think that he should get another shot. If I'm a GM, I'm not looking at him. And just to make sure we illustrate this, I wrote down the timeline for all of Antonio Brown's transgressions. I'll make it quick. I like to talk fast. So after he got his first extension with the Steelers, in practice he belittled Steelers defenders, according to Ryan Clark, saying, "Don't touch me, I'm the franchise." Then he kicked a punter on a punt return. You remember that against the Browns? Did that. He recorded a locker room speech from Mike Tomlin and put it on Facebook Live. He had a domestic assault charge, or accused of domestic assault towards one of his baby mamas in 2017. He flipped a water cooler because he was missed on a route by Ben Roethlisberger. He threw furniture off his 14th floor balcony and nearly killed a child. He called Ryan Clark an Uncle Tom because he was criticizing him for skipping practice and then being benched for the Week 17 game in 2018, which the Steelers needed to get into the playoffs. He then was found guilty of reckless driving, was traded to Oakland, and in the 2 weeks he was there, he got frostbite from cryotherapy, threatened to retire because his helmet wasn't approved by the NFL, posted a team letter on Insta about being fined for missing practice, posted another video from John Gruden, called the Raiders GM a cracker, was accused of sexual assault when he went to the Patriots, came back, won the title, faked his vaccine card, walked off the field, and is now belittling the one guy that ever stood up for him in this league, Tom Brady. Why would you want that in your locker room? And the simple answer is because he's a Hall of Fame talent and because arguably he was the best wide receiver in the NFL for 2 to 3 years. So I'm sure somebody will give him a shot, which is incredibly stupid and terrible because he's probably going to do something stupid like this again. He shouldn't get a shot, but he will.
I think what everyone talks about with Antonio Brown, I think it's kind of a misunderstood topic, to be honest. I think Antonio Brown thinks he's being controlled by NFL GMs and NFL owners. That's why he's reacting the way he wants to react. And that's the thing that I feel like a lot of people try to skip over when you're an athlete. When you sign that contract, you're basically saying you can do whatever you want to. You can do whatever you want from me because I signed this contract and you're giving me this money. So all the shots Tampa Bay gave him, all of those things, those were in the contract. Those are things he had to do. And I don't think he likes to be controlled because no one does. So I feel like that's part of the problem, Antonio Brown. And just because you can't control him, you won't be able to trust him. So I don't think it's a smart move because you can't trust him. But Josh Gordon is all over. How many times has Josh Gordon done? He couldn't pass a drug test.
That's almost legal now, though.
Almost legal, but Josh Gordon got chance after chance after chance after chance after chance. Too many times I was like, how is Josh Gordon still in the league? Antonio Brown has only done really on file 2 things that are legal. Compared to Josh Gordon, who's done like too many. So I'm really saying is, are you risking the chance that he can destroy your locker room? Yes. But speed kills. Talent kills. I can't really name you 10 receivers better than Antonio Brown on a given day, to be really honest. It's fun. I think his management was loaded because he has all those other receivers on it. But everyone knows when it was one-on-one, when it was Pittsburgh, no one could guard Antonio Brown. I don't think he's fallen too far from that. I don't think he's gonna be the same Antonio Brown, but I definitely think he's a good piece to pick up. But you run the risk. Well, what runs that risk?
I don't know, man. He burned too many bridges for me.
Who hasn't?
He's plenty of people.
But that's gonna wrap up our episode.
Bro, come on.
What do you got to say, Josh?
Well, we're about to hit February, which means that it's been about 4 months, and the Atlanta Braves are still reigning, defending world champions. It's not going away, guys. Especially with the lockout. It's the only thing I have to talk about. No baseball, other than David Ortiz going to the Hall of Fame, which was well deserved. We'd like to see that.
Like the video, subscribe, and send us in your takes. You guys haven't been doing that, but you guys love to comment, so make sure you send in your takes. And Takeover got some stuff cooking that may be here soon.
Okay. And I'm very confident in my takes that I'll do a little wager with myself. I feel like I've picked against Joe Burrow every single time. If Joe Burrow beats Patrick Mahomes on Sunday, I will get me a jersey. and I'll wear it the next time we're on the show.
Wait, before we end, I would like an apology.
From me for what? What I do?
For all the slander that you have given OBJ. I want the apology.
Oh, I apologize. I think I said it last episode. I apologize. Clearly it was Baker. Baker clearly skewed my view. I didn't realize Baker could make who knows, maybe we need to get Jarvis Landry out of here at this point because maybe he's not washed. Maybe it really is just Baker. Who knows? Who knows?
That's not our episode. Takeover out.
Hey, champ. Yeah, we play it all in night. Yeah, need it all in advance. The opposition know we're ready for it. Like a supper we eating, it won't be the last. Grind out the muscle, pull up. Parker right on the grass. We coming in, take over everything, run it up. Nothing holding me back. 3 in the wood, rushing. I don't like Dutch, don't even matter, you know I'm a face. And when I roll a paper, I like to go double. Run up a check, flip a W, make it an M. I need